excited to take on the position as a chief out there.
They got indoor plumbing over there in Del Rio?
Easy. It's West Texas, but it's the more developed part of West Texas.
Oh, I'm trying to keep it as light as possible. Listen, thank you for the heads up yesterday. Folks at Border Patrol McAllen sector, they opened up the doors, and at the Ursula Street, South McAllen, the processing holding facility that was created during the Obama administration. You guys remember that? You guys been paying attention long enough to this? Back during the Obama, the tsunami of folks coming in from Central America, because of the overflow at McAllen Station, right? It just trying to deal with people almost piled up on top of each other. It was a flood of people coming. This processing center was created, and it was created for the unaccompanied kids, right, Raul? That's what it was.
Back in 2014, when we were leading the nation, 256,000 apprehensions. Most of them were unaccompanied children. In about 18 days, we put that facility together, and it really was just to give us some relief because we were holding folks in tents. We were holding them in parking lots and sally ports. Our Weslaco station, McAllen station, were just overwhelmed. Actually had at one point, I tell the story, I had buses with people inside the buses moving around the valley because I had no place to put them. We were able to make some adjustments. We built that facility, and it has really helped us over the last 3 or 4 years improve the conditions when we're actually processing individuals.
What's the processing capacity for that center there that's near your South McAllen station?
So that facility is really equipped to hold about 1,500 people. Right now, we have on average about 2,300 people. I think when you went through there yesterday, it was, probably 75% over capacity, which is not optimal for us.
I don't know who said this yesterday, but nailed it. There are many words that are being thrown around and tagged on to the word crisis and emergency. And I don't know who said it, but policy crisis. That's the origin. We have a policy crisis. They're gaming it. And it was repeated multiple times yesterday by several folks at Border Patrol and Customs. The Central Americans that are here and are coming by the thousands right now, they know. They have been told by coyote smugglers, family, they know that they're coming here, they can cross, and chances are, 90% of the time, they will be allowed to stay. And that's why they're coming.
Exactly right. Most of the time that most of the individuals we encounter, they're economic migrants. Technically, that is not relief for asylum cases. And so when we apprehend them, when we interview them, most of them tell us, they're traveling to Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, New York, and they're going to reunite with a family member. They're looking for a job. They're looking for a better way of life, which is admirable. But for us, when we're dealing with, on average, this month, 1,200 apprehensions a day, there's no way we can sustain this. And I think what America doesn't realize is this isn't affecting just the valley, the border communities. This is affecting the entire nation. These folks, when they cross that river, they don't say, hey, I'm going to Mission, Texas or Edinburgh, Texas. They're going to Houston, Dallas, New York, San Antonio, and places on the eastern seaboard. So this affects all of us. And we are at overcapacity, 100% overcapacity, between 5,500 and 6,000 apprehension or people in custody in the Rio Grande Valley alone. And this plays out across all 9 sectors on the southwest border.
Deputy Chief, Rio Grande Valley Border Patrol, Raul Ortiz, joining me on the wall right now in studio. If you have any questions, you're hearing it from the source, right from Border Patrol. You need to get those questions over to my producer, Freddie Fred Cruz, at the following number, 800-580-8255, 800-580-8255. Another number that was thrown at us yesterday here in McAllen. We have seen a 200% increase, right? 200% increase in the volume of human beings that are being processed at this. And you guys are busting at the britches. Everything's about to pop here in McAllen, and it begs the question, Chief. We hear these reports of a caravan that's 20,000 people big, and you guys are processing north of 1,000 every single night, 1,200. You guys reached the record a few days back. In case you missed it, people, our Border Patrol Chief, Chief Karish, a few days back said $1,750 in one night. That's a caravan that you guys processed in one night. You guys are busting at the seams. What if? What if something like that shows up here at Reynosa, Matamoros, here on the Rio Grande? 5,000, 10,000, 15,000. What then? What do you guys do?
Yeah, we like to say we have a caravan every week here in South Texas, and that continues to play out.
Brother, you're having a caravan every night. One of the caravans that made news about a month ago was 1,200 big.
Yep.
1,200. That's a caravan. You guys are processing that every single night now.
Yeah, our agents are doing a tremendous job, but we're not doing it alone. You know, we brought in some Coast Guard personnel. We brought in some FEMA personnel. We have Office of Field Operations, the ports, the customs officers that traditionally work the port. We have 300 of those officers working side by side, processing, transporting, helping us with the detention piece of this. We've got our DOD partners. We've got our local law enforcement out there helping us, filling in holes on the border where we have to pull Border Patrol agents so we can process and do some of these other things that are part of this humanitarian crisis. And I'm really grateful that you're talking about this policy crisis, because that is huge. You know, we have congressmen, senators, and others coming down here to see firsthand. They've already been down here. In 2014, they were here, 15, 16, 17. They need to stay in Washington, D.C. and fix some of this stuff.
Deputy Chief Raul Ortiz from Border Patrol, the McAllen, the Rio Grande Valley sector. Chief, in Del Rio, where you're headed, you're going to be the chief out there, right?
Yeah.
You're be leading operations. Del Rio, is that, I was told yesterday, we were all told, that all sectors, all of them, are seeing triple-digit increase, right now are dealing with triple-digit increases in the flow of humanity. There was only one that was like the Big Bend area, right? Is Del Rio also seeing that increase?
Yeah, Del Rio's seeing a huge increase. Big Bend is seeing about a 10% decrease right now, but it's only a matter of time before they start to see some of the same
That's
increases.
because it's Big Bend, right?
Well, it's a very remote area. Right now, we're not even in our busy season. Normally, May and June is when traffic typically picks up for us. So
Why?
Here we are. That's been the trend over the last 28 years of my career.
They're harvesting the fields.
Yeah,
of cheap
normally,
ag labor.
the high summer months, right into the springtime, is when we start to see more traffic. This year, it started sooner than we expected, hence why we think we're going to surpass the 2014 numbers, 256,000 in 2014. We're way over tracking above those numbers right now.
We're talking about the border emergency, the crisis on the border that is clear every single day to Border Patrol and their families. I see those comments on Facebook. The wives of Border Patrol, family members of Border Patrol, the frustration by the family members that this issue, this crisis, this emergency is being ignored by certain politicians. This is not the deputy talking. This is me talking. It's the Democrats who need to wake up. It's our representatives in South Texas who need to wake up and help us, and by extension, help our nation and fix the broken policy. Now, that also comes from Border Patrol. Fix the broken policy, because the Chief Karish here at Border Patrol a few days back said, Washington, you need to fix this because they're gaming the system. They're coming into this country hoping to stay. My guest right now, Deputy Chief from Rio Grande Valley Border Patrol, Raul Ortiz, in the studio. He will soon be the Chief of Operations over in Del Rio. How much longer are you going to stay around here?
I got another week left.
Another week left before
Yes,
you leave. Okay, and you got plenty to do. It's not the peak season right now. At the moment, every single night, they're processing the equivalent of a caravan, people. What is it, like 1,200 and some people every single night?
1,288 on average this month alone, and we expect that number to go up next month.
You're listening to The Wall on Newstalk 710 KURV. I'm Sergio Sanchez, and my guest right now is Deputy Chief, Rio Grande Valley Border Patrol, Raul Ortiz, who has one more week on duty here, and will go over to Del Rio, Texas, to be Chief of Operations out there. FEMA is in town. That's one of the big stories right now. I know it's not getting airplay soon enough. Somebody will pick it up from AP, the newspaper, and start running with it. FEMA is in town helping our Border Patrol. What is the role right now, FEMA helping out at the processing center?
Well, mainly right now, they're bringing in some planners, some coordinators. You know, as you know, during disasters, emergency crisis situations, they're able to leverage non-governmental organizations, other agencies. So in 2014, we brought them down here. They were a tremendous
Okay.
help and value. And so we're going to try and duplicate some of those same efforts. If I could, real quick, Sergio, Oscar and the rest of the ranchers, farmers, community partners that we have out there, one of the things that Chief Karrasch and I really, really treasure is the relationship we have with our partners. And we couldn't do what we do. We couldn't be successful as we are securing the border, securing these communities, and really becoming part of the community without the support from individuals like Oscar and others. So we really appreciate the kind words, and we're going to continue. I know that's a priority for Chief Karrasch.
Deputy Chief, Border Patrol Raul Ortiz, my guest on the wall. You have any questions? You need to get those to Fred Cruz, 800-580-8255, 800-580-TALK, 710 KURV, Facebook Live. A question from a caller: Do you expect, Chief? You guys at Border Patrol, you guys expect the flow of humanity to decrease at anytime soon?
No, what we've seen is some higher numbers, and that has continued to trend higher than what we were initially expecting. Our intelligence forecast told us that we were probably going to apprehend about 240,000 people. We've upped that to over 300,000 right now, and this is really just based upon some of the surveys, some of the interviews we've had, and some of the intelligence that we're gaining from the Central American countries.
Let me differentiate real quick between a fiscal year and a calendar year. Fiscal year for Border Patrol started in October.
October
right?
1st and goes through September 30th. Yep.
Last month, in the month of March, we're halfway through the fiscal year. Last month, March, you guys processed 100K?
So right now we have 142,000 apprehensions
For the year.
for this fiscal year.
Fiscal year.
Yes,
How
sir.
much for March? Was it 72, 75? What was it?
Yeah. So in March, right now we were about I want to say 30,000, but I'll have to get that number for you.
Okay. We're on track to obviously blowing out of the water, blowing all these numbers as far as apprehensions. The folks in blue, the customs people that have been reportedly moved from some of the international positions, right? International bridge positions. Some of the lanes are slower, closed. That's why we see the border bridge wait times increasing, because we've moved some of the men and women in blue to help you. How are they helping you, the folks in blue?
Yeah, so customs officers have been a tremendous help. It's going to impact the POEs, airports, seaports, all of those things.
Point of entry, POE, point of entry.
Port of
the
entry.
bridges and the airports.
And the airports.
Okay.
So we're bringing in customs officers from across the nation to help us out. They're helping us process. They're helping us transport. They're helping us with some of the detention roles. They will not serve in an enforcement role out in the field in between the ports of entry, but they have been of tremendous value already to us.
When the CBP National Chief, the Homeland Security Director, Christian Nielsen, when she said 750 individuals from Customs were being routed here, was it just to the Valley, 750, or 750 across the southwest border?
So it was 300 here in the Valley,
Okay.
and then I think 750 across the entire southwest
And
border.
out of the 300 in the Valley, some are from the local lanes,
Yeah.
just like a handful, right? So we're needing some hotel space, right, for these folks that have been brought in from other parts of the nation. It's open-ended, or are they rotating in and out?
So most of these folks are on detail, so they'll rotate every 30 days. And so in 30 more days, we'll have a new crew of individuals supporting our efforts here.
My guest on the wall is Deputy Chief Raul Ortiz, Border Patrol, Rio Grande Valley Sector. In just a few days, he will be the chief at Del Rio. We have an emergency and a crisis that starts as a policy crisis in our nation, and we were given a tour. We in media, we were given a tour yesterday of the processing center in South McAllen, and we got to see how these guys are busting at the seam right now, trying to process literally thousands upon thousands of individuals every 2-3 days. Right now, they had what was it, 2,200 yesterday that we got to see?
Yeah, in the Ursula facility, we had over 2,200 in custody.
We're taking your calls and questions. Get them over to Freddie ASAP, because I need to clear these boys out of here. They got work to do. So you get your calls in right now, 800-580-8255. 800-580-8255, 710 KURV, Facebook Live. Maestro, let's pay some bills. 1 minute, Freddie, and let's keep on going. Freddie's trying to manage a couple of calls coming in. 800-580-8255, 710 KURV, Facebook Live. It's, I suppose you could call it Ask Border Patrol. On the radio. Hey, they're in the studio, man. It's a new program. Ask Border Patrol. 800-580-8255, 800-580-8255. What now? Where do we go? What solutions do we need? We'll try to focus on the policy side. Border Patrol in the studio here at 710 KURV, The Wall. Time is 9:27. You are listening to The Wall from the front lines of real news. McAllen, Texas, Rio Grande Valley, Texas. Deputy Chief, Rio Grande Valley Border Patrol, Raul Ortiz in the studio. Freddie's balancing the calls and the questions coming in right now. Get them in quick. 800-580-8255. How to deal, how to wrestle, tackle this emergency on the U.S.-Mexican border. Of course, it's not helping that some politicians up in D.C. are providing a different narrative and ignoring the emergency and the crisis on the border. Border Patrol, CBP, DHS, they're doing their job. And they're clamoring for some help. Some of the solutions, Chief, that were brought about, our Border Patrol Chief, Rodolfo Carish, he was saying that the policy needs to change. Number one, I remember he mentioned the detention time. How would that help? Can you please explain the whole detention, changing the policy when it comes to detaining these family units and these folks coming in? How does that need to change to help us?
Yeah, so back in 2014, when we had the unaccompanied children crisis, one of the things that really curtailed those folks from actually making the trek is we were able to repatriate some of those individuals back to their home country. There was a court ruling that said, hey, we're going to have to treat unaccompanied children and family units exactly the same. So you can't hold them longer than 20 days. And so you can't adjudicate a case quick enough in 20 days. So in essence, what we have to do is either hold them in some sort of family residential detention facility, or we have to give them a notice to appear for a court date or an asylum hearing later on at some point. And latest projections are that less than 10% of them ever show up for that court hearing. And so when you have all these unaccompanied children and family units crossing, which make up probably about 75% of the people that we encounter here in South Texas, those are the folks that are getting released out onto the street. We're not releasing adults and males and females that are from Central America. We're not releasing folks from the 50 different countries that we've already apprehended individuals from here in South Texas. And so those folks will remain in custody. Those are a priority for us. But unfortunately, we do not have enough bed space for family units.
Where do you put all these singles, males? And let me tell you something. I didn't ask yesterday. We ran out of time, but seemed to me, just by viewing, the ratio, male to female, easy. At least yesterday, this is anecdotal, 2 to 1. Is that what you're saying on average?
So
bunch of males.
We have seen a lot more males traveling with unaccompanied or with children than we've ever seen before. And back in 2014, or if you go back to 2000, it was about 1%. Now we see about 50% of the people that we encounter that are family units are male head of household. And so we recognize that there's some fraud associated with that. We have individuals that are bringing children. We have actually have open investigations where kids are being recycled through this whole process. Yeah. They will travel with a male up to New Jersey or North Carolina and then be put on a plane with another adult, sent back to Central America, and go right through that process again with somebody else.
Well, hang on a second. How do you know then? Because we were told the kids under 14, you're not getting any biometric or any other type of like fingerprint, and you're not identifying these children. So how do you know it's the same kid?
So we have, like I said, some open investigations on specific cases, and now we are going to start taking biometrics on kids under the age of 14 who we suspect may be involved in some sort of fraud.
Recycling children. Just send them back. We bring up another adult. Amazing. I hesitate asking you. Can you stick around?
Just a little bit.
Okay. Maestro, Freddie, go pay some bills. We'll try to clear the chief out of here as quickly as possible. 9:40? Can you clear by 9:40? Okay. In the studio, Deputy Chief Raul Ortiz. He's with McAllen right now. He will soon be the chief over at Del Rio. Hurry up. Get your questions in. Freddie's trying to balance those as quickly as possible. 800-580-8255. 800-580-8255. You're listening to The Wall, 710 KURV, Facebook Live. Time is 9:34. You are listening to The Wall. This is News Talk 710 KURV. I'm Sergio Sanchez, and we're going to get right to it again. Our guest is Deputy Chief Rio Grande Valley Border Patrol, Raul Ortiz. Let me clear a caller real quick. George has been hanging on for a while. Welcome to The Wall, George. What you want to say?
Hey, Sergio, thanks for bringing this topic up. I just want to know what happens to these people when they come into our country illegally. Where do they go? What do they do? How do they survive?
Yeah, it's a reality for Border Patrol every single day. But see, you have to repeat the message over and over and over again. Okay, if you want to just quickly answer his question, Chief.
Yeah, most of the adults are either repatriated back to the Central American countries. Certainly the Mexican nationals are easily repatriated because we have an agreement with Mexico. But a lot
That's the easy one, right? They come in illegally from Mexico, you're going right back across the river.
Yeah,
if they come in from Central America and they're single, right? Single adults, single females, you're holding these people, and those are the ones you're prioritizing to return.
Yeah.
Right? It's the family units that are kicking our butt.
The
right?
unaccompanied children in the family units have created a tremendous strain. If you look at nationally, we have made 370,000 arrests. The Border Patrol has nationally. That's a 108% increase. And RGV is trending along those same lines, 108% increase that we've seen just here in South Texas. So the family units and unaccompanied children typically are released to a sponsor, or they're released with a notice to appear. And unfortunately, quite a few of them don't show up for those immigration hearings.
The ball is in Congress's court. There are solutions being thrown out there by Border Patrol leadership, by DHS leadership, even by people like Federation of American Immigration Reform. Detention requirements, how we deal with folks, family units, whether it's an individual with a child claiming that that is his or her child, how we deal with them, that law needs to change. We need an immediate address of this asylum request and to be heard on the spot, to be able to hold these people, hear it, and send them back. And 90% of the time, likely, they don't have a case to stay in the country. And how we deal with unaccompanied children, that law needs to change as well. And that's why it is in Congress's court. And in the meantime, I'm just going to say this because I just got this press release. Freddie just gave me this. Our Western Valley Congressman, Henry Cuellar, as I referred to him, lovingly referred to him, our blue dog that doesn't hunt, he's not hunting right now. Representative Cuellar and somebody else introducing a resolution condemning Trump's threat to shut down the border. Dude, you got bigger fish to fry, man. You need to listen to Border Patrol and go in there, ask leadership to change the law. Because they know, again, I will repeat what Border Patrol and leadership at CBP is telling us. They're yelling at the top of their lungs. These people know that they will only be held for 72 hours. They know about Catholic Charities. They know about all the benevolence we're given. They're coming because they know it's a wide open door, and only Congress can change that. Anything else you'd like to float up to our so-called representation here in South Texas?
Yeah, just a couple of things. One, so far this fiscal year, we have 22,000 people that have gotten away from us here in South Texas. We don't know who those individuals are, and that's of concern to us from a border security.
Ballpark figure, how many people got away?
22,000.
22K, fiscal year.
Fiscal year so far, just in South Texas, and that's what we know have gotten away from us. No telling what we don't know have gotten away from us.
Also, one thing that I know is Border Patrol sending out press releases telling us they're catching MS-13, 18th Street gang members. They're catching rapists and sexual assault individuals who are trying to sneak in with the family groups. You guys sent out, and thank you, by the way, for the regular updates on this. It's on a weekly basis. I posted one example yesterday of a handful you guys got, MS-13 and 18th Street gang members over a period of 3-4 days. Folks, that's just one press release, and it's in a stack that I have over the past several weeks. And those are the ones that are being caught, as the chief says. We have no idea who's skirting, going around the checkpoint, going around Border Patrol, and making it into the country. The bad hombres, as President Trump once said.
210 MS-13, 18th Street gang members so far. And so we continue to tackle the border security issue. Just in the 24-hour period yesterday, we had 32 pounds of cocaine seized at a checkpoint, 400 pounds of marijuana seized on the border, 1,246 apprehensions made by the Border Patrol agents in between the ports of entry. So they're doing a tremendous job out there. I just want to say, as we part, CBP, Border Patrol, customs officers, our ICE partners, everyone, the local law enforcement has been doing a tremendous job of keeping South Texas safe. But we're stretched awfully thin right now.
They are, people. I saw it for myself yesterday, and so did a lot of the media locally. even Mr. J. Griff around with Fox, he was in there in the mix. They are stretched way beyond capacity. And what we saw at the processing center that was set up under Obama during the first wave of humanity back, 4 or 5 years ago, whenever that was,
Yes,
what we see there at every single Border Patrol station was local, McAllen, all these, they're all set up as intake facilities. Every single one of them stretched to a breaking point right now. The emergency, the crisis is real. And our politicians are not listening. You, friend, you in the audience, you need to do your part. Tell the mayor to wake up, call Congress. Tell the county judge to wake up and call Congress. You need to call your congressman and tell them to do what's right for not only Border Patrol, not only for our community, for the country, because we're being flooded right now. The emergency is real. You had a chance to say thanks to anyone else you want to say thanks or shout out to before you leave?
The Rio Grande Valley sector personnel are top-notch individuals. They've done a tremendous job here in South Texas. My 5.5 years have been the most rewarding of my career, so thanks to everyone.
Guys, thanks for stopping by, and I don't have to repeat. Airtime, microphone's yours anytime, all right? Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, sir.
You guys be safe out there. That is our Deputy Chief, Border Patrol, Rio Grande Valley Sector, Raul Ortiz, soon to be the chief over at Del Rio, Texas. It's 9:41. You're listening to The Wall. This is News Talk 710 KURV, 710 KURV Facebook Live.